This particular point is when we spend a little time with Bruce L. Scheiner, attorney for the injured. A little something we call Ask the Lawyer. We'll see if your question gets answered today. And if you'd like to submit a question for future consideration, we'll tell you how to go about that as well. Would you please help me welcome Bruce L. Scheiner, attorney for the injured. Good morning, Bruce.
Hey, good morning, Todd. How you doing?
Excellent. How are you today?
Doing wonderful. It's such a beautiful day in Southwest Florida.
It's pretty much what I expected to hear. You've got such positivity in your voice every time we speak, which is half the joy in this particular radio segment. The other half is finding out if there's a way to help somebody who's got some need, and in this case, some severe need. I know that you're always very compassionate when it comes to stories of abuse. So I'm just going to get right into the email if you're ready.
I am ready, Todd.
Okay. This is how it reads. It says, when I was 12 years old, I attended a church-owned camp and was a victim of sexual battery by one of the youth ministers who worked for a mega church which ran the camp. Suppressed the memory and trauma of this event for the last 10 years, but I feel I should do something about it. My fiance thinks I might be out of luck because it was so long ago. Can you ask the lawyer if there is anything I can do? I'm sure this is something that comes up a lot as far as how much time has elapsed from the abuse until the realization. Have you dealt with this before?
Yes, sir. And it's a very interesting situation because in most sports, when some wrong has been committed to someone else, there's a statute of limitations, which means that there's a time limit where you have to either settle the case or bring a lawsuit.
Right.
However, there is no time limitation for any civil or criminal proceeding for a sexual battery violation committed against a victim under 16 at the time of the act.
Oh, wow. Did not know that. So.
Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, so it sounds to me like, first of all, sorry your fiance isn't right, but the good news is this is something that can be pursued.
Absolutely. You know, it's such a horrible thing to happen that I would encourage the young lady to pursue it because she has all kind of damages. You know, it causes great mental distress and a lot of things to deal with.
When it is a so-called suppressed memory, we've all heard that term at least once or twice, and does that make it any more difficult to try a case if it were to go to court?
It just depends on the facts and the ability to corroborate what happened.
Because you know the defense is going to be, it's not a real memory. And I know that for many, this actually does happen.
Yeah, it certainly does. And it's horrific, the trauma that is caused to young women. Now,
this being a situation where it's a church-owned camp, I mean, this should put notice not just for a church-owned camp, but anybody that deals with youth and with kids. You've got to be extremely in-depth when it comes to background checking your employees, don't you?
You certainly do. You know, you're putting these young children of tender age and you know, you just got to be as careful as you possibly can.
Right. And the duty is on them to make it a safe environment and definitely weed out the predators, which obviously in this case was not done.
I agree.
Okay, so advice would be here, get a hold of an attorney, get a hold of a legal professional, do it soon, even though there is no quote-unquote statute of limitations. You don't want any more time to elapse because it's just going to compound the trauma. Now you can start getting help, but it all begins with seeing a legal professional.
That's great advice, Todd.
All right, Bruce. As always, thank you so much for your compassionate approach to these very, very difficult subjects. I hope there comes a day when you and I are still doing these segments on Wednesday mornings, when we never have a question like this again. That would be really nice. And I know I'm a bit of a dreamer there, but that's what we should all be rooting for. Thank you again for your help.
Yeah, well, you're very welcome, Todd. Look forward to talking to you next Wednesday.
Absolutely. Say hi to everybody and have a good week. Bye-bye.
Okay, take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce L. Scheiner, attorney for the injured, his response to a very delicate question, but at least a ray of light here. Perhaps shining on a very, very ugly situation that could perhaps lead to some improvement. If you have a question that you'd like to submit for Ask the Lawyer, simply go to our website and put Bruce in the keyword search box. That'll take you where you need to go. If you have a situation like this where it is very delicate, needs a great deal of compassion, and is something that's very immediate, don't go that route. Going to advise you instead to call the Port Charlotte office of Associates and Bruce L. Scheiner. Here's their number, 941-743-7777, 941-743-7777. And tell them that Todd sent you from Kicks Country 92.9.